Hello everyone, this is Satish Kumar. So I am here with my continuation lesson on leadership. So we are seeing behavioral theories of leadership. In my previous class, we learnt about three behavioral theories, that is leader continuum theory, Ohio State Studies and University of Michigan Studies. Those three behavioral theories. In today's lesson, we will study the remaining leaderships studies. The fourth leadership behavioral theory is what is known as managerial grid or leadership grid. It is the fourth behavioral theory. It was given by management theorist Robert Blake and Jane Moulton. So that is why it is also called as Blake-Moulton managerial grid. So what is this leadership theory? Okay, see, these theorists use the same concept of the Ohio State Studies and University of Michigan Studies. No, they took two of the characteristics. Okay, in fact, they also given a name to the characteristics, and the characteristics of the style was similar, but they also given a new name. Okay, so what they are doing is they are coming with a new name. Okay, நான் முதல் கிளாஸில் சொன்னேன், இட்லி வந்து மாவு ஒன்று தான், தோசையாக ஒருத்தர் கொடுத்தாரு, ஒருத்தர் இட்லியாக கொடுத்தாருன்னு. இவர் என்ன பண்ண போகிறாருன்னா, இவர் அதை மசால் தோசையாக கொடுக்க போகிறாரு. ஓகே, அதாவது விவேக் ஒரு படத்தில் சொல்லுவான், தமிழன் தான் இட்லியை கண்டுபிடிச்சான், அதையே கொஞ்சம் இதுவாக போட்டு தோசைன்னா அதில் கொஞ்சத்தை கலந்து கொஞ்சம் குருமாவை கலந்து மசால் தோசைன்னா அப்படின்ட்டு. அது மாதிரி the leadership theory of this theory is a slightly different variant using the same concepts and the same characteristics. Okay, so what Blake-Moulton did was they plotted the characteristics, the two characteristics that they identified in the graph. In a graph, it is a graphical representation of two different leadership styles that manager adopts. Okay, and based on that, okay, they took two characteristics. One is a leader who is people centered. Okay, who shows concern for people. Okay, their given title is concern for people. The second is concern for production. If you see the two characteristics that the Blake and Moulton took was, it is very similar to what Ohio State Studies and University of Michigan Studies did. Okay, Ohio State Studies said initiating structure. Initiating structure is nothing but your concern for production. Similarly, Ohio State Studies took consideration. Consideration is nothing but here concern for people. So it is all very similar, but what he has done is he has plotted this in a graph. Okay, for example, in the y-axis he put the concern for people, in the x-axis he put the concern for production. Okay, and there was 9 points are given, nine. Okay, and based on this 9, okay, on both sides you could come up with 81 different types of leadership style. Okay, 1 1 1 2 1 3 1 4 1 5 1 6 like that, 1 9 2 1 2 2 2 3 2 4 like that. Okay, 81 styles, but he came up with 5 major among this based on this. Okay, rather than going into all the 81. Okay, 5 major behavioral leadership styles. Okay, one is 1 1, which is low concern for production and low concern for people. Okay, if we plot the leadership style in a graph, no, if a person who is here at the lowest end is low concern for production and low concern for people, This style is called impoverished management. Impoverished management. Okay. This is the worst leadership style according to Blake and Mountain, because the leaders is not putting any effort to get the work done by his subordinates, and he is not also giving them any instructions, or he is not even controlling them. Okay. So, it is minimum concern for people and minimum concern for production. Okay. So, this could always result in some kind of disharmony and chaos in the organization. Their organizations always need a leader to take care of people and to take care of the job to be done, and leader has to wield this authority. He cannot be a leader who is impoverished. Okay. So, this leadership style is considered as the worst leadership style, impoverished management. And even in my previous class, when we are talking about Ogaya State studies, no, a leader who is low concern for production and low concern for people, no, even that when we are looking about the leader continuum theory, Kurt Lewin, when we are seeing the leader who is laissez faire, I said, no, even when the subordinates are willing to do the job and they are taking care, it is always necessary for an organization to have a leader. Unless a leader is not there, there will not be any direction. So, this leadership considered as a very poor style. Okay. The second style is 9-1 at this end. Okay. Here there is huge concern for production, but less concern for people. Okay. We have plotted the y-axis, in the x-axis the concern for production, the y-axis we have plotted concern for people. So, 9-1 is at this end. Okay. Here 1-1, here 9-1. Okay. Here 1-1, here 9-1, the y-axis. Okay. So, this is authority compliance management. Okay. Or the title gives is task management. The leader focused on task. Okay. He is more concerned about the production, and he is putting less concern for the personal need of his subordinates. These kind of managerial styles is, they always focus on the task. For them, the task has to be completed. They won't even consider the needs of the employees. If the employee is saying that, sir, we are having some grievances, we are facing some resource shortage, we are facing some environment working conditions, poor working conditions, some laborers are having some problems. If they came up with these kind of information, no, these kind of managers say, I am not asking you any explanations. I want the job to be done. Do it. Like that. He is such a type of leader. Okay. So, in this kind of leadership style, what will happen is, in short term the production may increase. Okay. Because of the strict rules and procedures. So, these kind of leaders, they will follow things very strictly. Okay. And they will utilize the leader as a subordinate as just a tool for achieving their goal. Okay. They will use to the maximum. Okay. See, we could use our subordinates to the maximum to get our benefit, but the subordinates will lose his morale. Or we could use the subordinate by paying him reward, by showing him concern, by treating him well, by recognizing him, by appreciating him. If we do all those things, he will be better. But this task management leader doesn't show those things. He is more concerned only about production. He may use the subordinates to whatever means he want. Okay. There are people like that. See, I have seen people who are having high ego. These people know they are subordinate to somebody. Okay. I have known a person, he has a leader. Okay. Because his leader has said him something, okay, he was very angry. He said to me that my boss is using me as a tool for achieving something. He is just treating me as a slave. He is using me, he wants me to do everything, right? He blames me. He blames his boss for using him to whatever things to get done. But actually that same person, no, what he does is, under him lot of people are working. Okay, he is bossing those people as he wishes. It's a highly tragic situation. Okay, I was thinking actually the other day, what is this person? He once blamed me that his boss is actually treating him not well. If he has any empathy, he should empathize with his subordinates. He is treating them more as like a real slave. In fact, his boss never treated him as slave. His boss actually asked him a little bit more to work that he could not take. But he is using his subordinates as mere slaves. There are people like that, okay, without little empathy. For them, their rights are important, but they don't concern about others' right. Okay, the task management is leader is something like that. He is not show any concern for people. And in this type of leadership style, the short term the productivity may go up, but sooner or later the subordinates will lose interest. Okay, and there will be high turnover. For example, employees will lose interest in job, reduce production, they may look for jobs outside. Okay, like that. Okay, the third style is middle of the road, that is 5-5. In the graph, no, it will be in the middle, 5-5. Okay, in the middle of the road. So this leader is trying to balance organizational goals and the personal need of employees. So he is giving some importance to the task to be done. He is also giving some importance to the subordinates. Okay, so it may look like he is doing justice to both, but in fact he is actually compromising both. Okay, this leader is not giving importance to adequate performance, and is not also giving work requirements and satisfaction of employee maximum. So he is trying to balance these things. Okay, hence both the production and the employee needs are not completely met. So an organization may have an average performance. Okay, this is not the best style, but this actually is a better style than the previous two styles. Okay, between 1-1 and 9-1, this is better, 5-5. Okay, 5 on concern for people, 5 on concern for production. Okay, then we have the fourth leadership style, that is 1-9. 1-9 means less concern for production. Okay, it is high, less concern for production, but high concern for people. High concern for people. Okay, 1-9. This is called as country club. Okay, country club is one place where people go. Nobody is there to ask them anything. They go there, they do anything, they play, they sleep, they bath, they wear any kind of dress. Okay, it is a place something like you could be most casual. Okay, that is kind of place. So country club management is place where there is no one to control, there is no rules and regulations. Okay, so here the leader, this type of leadership style, no, the leader does not lay any emphasis on the personal needs of subordinates. Similarly, they also pay less attention towards output. Okay, they pay more attention to the personal needs of the employee, but they pay less attention towards the task. There every facility is available for the employee, but at the same time the employees are not given responsibility. They can act the way they want. Okay, so there may be leaders like this who want to please their subordinates, who is having high affection needs. That is, they want the people to respect them, to trust them. So they don't like to criticize people, they don't like to control people too much. Okay, there may be people like that. This is also another very poor leadership style. Okay, a leader needs to be firm. A leader has authority, and he has to be firm. How much he shows concern for people, that is also important. Same way, he is also have to be very task oriented. He has to focus on that also. But here in this country club management leadership style, he is not focusing on goals. As a result, this is also not the best leadership style. Okay, here it is good for the subordinates, of employees. They will enjoy all the benefit and they will put less effort. Okay, as a result, the production will get affected in this type of organization. Okay, sooner or later the leader will be blamed for everything because he has not taken control over the task to be completed. He has given people too much freedom. The people took him for granted because he is not controlling the people. Okay, such a type of leader. Okay. The fifth leadership style is 9-9. Okay, in this graph it is here. In this graph it is here, where there is 9 for concern for people, 9 concern for production. Okay, you could find this graph in the net or in any place. Blake and Mountain Managerial Grid, you will find this graph. Now you will understand that. Okay, so team management here. Okay, in this graph it is here, whereas there is a high concern for 9-9 production and high concern for people. And Blake and Mountain consider this is the most effective leadership style, where the leader is showing high concern for production and high concern for people. Okay, this is different from middle management. Middle management is compromising between these two, but here they pay attention to the goal, at the same time they pay attention to the people also. Okay, see, for example, I will give the difference between a team management and a middle of the road leadership style. If a company is facing a problem of working condition, okay, say for example, employees are coming to the manager and saying that, sir, we are having some problem. Okay, few of our employees are not able to work due to some personal problems, so we cannot complete the output as expected by this weekend, so we have to postpone it for the next week. 4-5 days it will take. Okay, they come with some issues. We have some issues with our few of our employees. Here what a middle level management will do is, he will tell, okay, he is showing concern for people. Okay, some concern for people, and he will say that, okay, the people are having some trouble, what can we do? We have to take we have to wait for the production to be completed to the next week. Okay, so he is showing some concern for people and he is postponing the completion of the task to the next week. Okay, so a compromise has reached, but the production has delayed. Okay, he may even use other method. For example, he may hire new people and incur more costs to complete the task before the time. Okay, a middle level manager, I am just giving an example how a middle level manager will think. Okay, he may temporarily assign a new people, gives them extra amount and complete the task. Okay, so he is trying to balance both the people and the production. But what a team manager will do is, what is their concern? Okay, they are having this problem, let us provide them with these kind of things so that they could work. The problem with them is, there may be some problem related to working condition for the employees, or they may be having some family issues, they may be something. They solve that the worker's problem and get the work done. So that is the team management. See, I am not able to give a extraordinary example so that it fits both into the middle of the road and the team management, but what I thought was, I think you could understand. Okay, in the middle of the road, the leader is trying to balance between the needs of production and people. Here in team management, he takes care of both and he is making both the people happy. Okay, that is the team management. Here, as a result, this leadership style is considered most effective style. So this is what the Blake and Mountain leadership style is. Okay, behavioral leadership style. So now we will have one more leadership style, that is the fifth behavioral leadership style theory, which is called Likert 4 management leadership style. Likert, Likert. And this leadership style, I hope you all know, it is given by Rensis Likert, the famous psychologist Rensis Likert. I have already given this lesson in my public administration class. You could go and read that, but I am giving here. Okay, it is a behavioral theory. Likert has tried to identify what are all the 4 types of managerial styles of a leader working in an organization. Okay, and he came up with four types. Okay, and in my opinion, what Likert did was, he used the Cuttle-Evans model, and McMurray's, and given different name for all those 4 things, and he has came up with this theme. So if you study that, it is based on Cuttle-Evans theory. Okay, the 4 styles that he says is, the first style is exploitative authoritative leadership style. Okay, exploitative authoritative is nothing but autocratic style that is set by Cuttle-Evans. Okay, the second style that Likert says is benevolent autocratic leadership style. Benevolent autocratic is the one given by Robert McMurray, right? The second style in the leader continuum. Okay, we know what is benevolent autocratic. The third style that Likert gave is consultative leadership style. Okay, this is where there is a slight difference between those styles. Consultative leadership style is nothing but a manager, even though he is not having, see, a leader, when he is autocratic, he actually takes all the decisions and imposes on the people. But in the consultative leadership style, what the leader does is, he consults with the people. He seeks out suggestions. Although he seeks out suggestion, he is the person who will make the decision. Okay, so he is consulting, but he makes the decision. He is not allowing the workers to in the decision making process, rather than he is only seeking out suggestion. That is the difference between a participative leader and a consultative leader. So in leader continuum, we studied only about participative leadership style, where the democratic leadership style, where they involve the employees in the decision making. Here he is just consulting, but the decision he is making, sometimes the decision that he makes may not be anything that is related to consultative. That is the consultative leadership style. Okay, so he is somewhat, if you plot that in the leader continuum, it will be between benevolent autocratic and democratic leadership style, somewhere in between. Okay, so another this could be added. Otherwise, the fourth leadership style that Rensis Likert says is democratic leadership style. It is very similar to the participative and democratic leadership. In fact, the same name also similar, prescribed by leader continuum theory. Okay, in fact, we know what is autocratic, we know what is benevolent and what is democratic. So we no need to discuss once again all those things. Okay. So based on this, Rensis Likert says that Style 3 and 4 are the highly producing, highly effective styles. Most effective is the fourth, 3 also is somewhat good. 1 and 2 are not that good for production. Okay, the autocratic style and benevolent autocratic may work in a short time, but it is not the best style. 3 and 4 is the best style. And what Rensis Likert says is, all organizations should train their managers to develop this fourth style, that is democratic leadership style, in their leaders. Okay, at least they should move to the consultative stage, the third style, for the organization to be highly productive. Okay, that's what the conclusion of Rensis Likert. Okay, so we have seen all the behavioral theories. So in short, from what we have seen from the behavioral theories, we could conclude that generally there are two major styles, that is one showing concern for people, that is democratic leader or participative leader, and the other is showing concern for production, that is autocratic leader, who is more concerned about getting the job done. Okay, and in between there may be multiple styles, that is benevolent autocratic, consultative, and other things. Okay, so these two are the major styles. Okay, in fact, in real life, no person will be 100% autocratic. There may be like that people, but any person who is autocratic will also have some amount of empathy for people. Similarly, any person who is people oriented will also be some amount of controlling other people. So in real life, all people will fall down in between these two, in between these two behavioral styles. Okay, we can conclude like that. Okay, so based on these behavioral theories, this is what major understanding is. Finally, we will conclude why we need other type of leadership theories. See, there was some research done about the international preference between these two major styles, that is production center and employee centered leaders, no, autocratic and democratic leadership style. No, there was some what is the international differences, and they found, see, sometimes the general conclusion of all these behavioral leadership style will say that a leader high on people or the best style will be who is showing eye on consideration, democratic style, like that they will say. No, but what happens is, in some places, for some organization, a leader who shows eye concern for people will actually have his style backfiring on himself. The people will take him for granted when he shows eye concern for people. So universally it cannot be adopted. Okay, it is very important to understand, it is not only the style of leader, it is also the situation which will be a characteristic to adopt which style. That is what the study, Globe study came up with. It said that in certain situations, autocratic style may be best suited. Okay, for example, a parent, when it comes to a small child who's a stubborn and rebellious, no, to such a child, a parent has to be authoritative. He cannot be so concerned for, concerned for the child who does not have any too much of intelligence, okay, or does not know what he is doing. The child will want everything in the store to be bought. A parent cannot buy everything. He cannot show too much concern for the child. In such a time, he has to be authoritative, and suddenly the child will rebel and adamantly, and he will throw all sort of fits in the shop. What the parent has to do, he cannot yield to them, rather than give a சில பத்தவங்களாம் பார்த்தீங்களா பலார்னு ஒரு அறை கொடுப்பாங்க, அந்த பையன் அவ்வளோ பேசாமல் இருந்துடும் அதோட. Okay, sometimes autocratic style may work. So it is the situation or the subordinates may decide what style to be adopted. So, a particular style may be good for some situation, but it is not suitable for all the situations, for all the subordinates. So, it is not only important a leader possess the right style, it is also important the leader apply it in the right context. So, that is why a new type of leadership style emerged, new theories of leadership emerged in the form of contingency theory or situational theories. That we will see in my next lesson. Okay, bye.